The local honeybush industry is receiving major support through a multi-year project implemented by the Agricultural Research Council. It has already greatly expanded practical know-how on the best practices available to the growing local honeybush industry. The project is part of ongoing efforts to strengthen the industry and its people. In this morning's episode of Plaas TV, we focus on this interesting topic. But for now, over to Lisa for the very first news report of the year.
Welcome back to the news, the first news for 2022. China recently welcomed pear imports from South Africa. This is according to a statement by True Cape Fruit Marketing. According to the company's managing director, Rolf Pienaar, they are cautiously optimistic about the positive impact that additional sales into China will have on their growers. Pienaar says South Africa's apple and pear crop for 2022 looks promising. Pear varieties such as Packhams, Triumph and Forel, along with blush pears like Cheeky, are expected to find favour in China. Desember 2021 was een van die natste Desembers op rekord, volgens landbouweerkundige Johan van der Berg. Senekal in die Sentraal Vrystaat het in Desember ongeveer 320 mm reën gekry. Alhoewel die streek se langtermyn gemiddelde reënval slegs sowat 100 mm is. Groot gedeeltes van die droë Noord-Kaap en Oos-Kaap het ook goeie reën begin kry. Johan gesels nou hieroor.
Voor Riesburg, Oos-Vrystaat ook hier in die orde van 300 mm vir Desember. Die seisoen is geheel hier by 560 mm. Selfs in Noordwes-provinsie Kolini het in die orde van 230 mm vir Desember gehad en trek al ook amper by die 500 mm vir die seisoen. Marble Hall 260 mm en omtrent 400 mm vir die seisoen. So dit is baie nat toestande. Ons kan ook die groot gedeeltes van die baie droë Noord-Kaap en die Oos-Kaap het ook goeie reën begin kry. En heelwat plekke het hier tussen 50 en 100 mm gekry van die laaste deel van November en Desember. En veral die Oos-Kaap gedeelte, die eerste keer en ook baie jare, Willowmore, Aberdeen, daardie gedeeltes wat 'n redelike klompie reën gehad het. En dan natuurlik ook die suidwestelike dele van die Noord-Kaap, waar daar ook goeie reën voorgekom het. En dis amper baie van die plekke, die laaste 6 tot amper 10 jaar, het daar nie soveel reën en soveel opvolgreën voorgekom nie. So dit begin tog 'n duik maak in die droogte. Die droogte is nog nie verby, of die droogte se effek is nog nie verby nie. Maar ten minste lyk dit daarom baie goed wat dit betref.
En so sê Johan van der Berg. Op hierdie nat noot, Vrystaat Landbou het onlangs 'n distrik vloedrampverklaring in werking gestel. 60% en dalk meer van gesaaides in die Wes-Vrystaat is in gedrang weens vloedskade. Volgens Jakkals Leroux gaan dringende ingryping nou nodig wees om vloedgetuisterde boere in die provinsie op hul grond te hou. Still on the topic of rain, according to Mpumalanga Agriculture, most dams in the province are nearing 100% capacity. Loskop, Groot Draai and Firebooms levels are sitting at above 100%. In the Free State, the Vaal is currently 110.4% capacity and the Gariep at 111.4%. The Makolo Dam in Limpopo is at 102.5% capacity and the Boegoeberg Dam in the Northern Cape at a staggering 155.4%. The levels of the Kouga Dam in the Eastern Cape, however, are still low and is currently sitting at 17.2%. And that's today's news. Welcome to this morning's discussion on Honeybush. We'll be talking to Dr. Cecilia Bester from the ARC and to Dr. Brigitte de Preez, and she's from the University of Stellenbosch. First of all, Cecilia, what is Honeybush?
Yes, thank you, Lisa, for this opportunity. Yes, Honeybush is one of our indigenous teas, which is maybe not this familiar as the people are with rooibos, but it is just as unique and healthy and tasty. Now, Honeybush is also a small shrub type growth, a plant that grow in it's part of our fynbos biome, which is unique to the eastern and western Cape areas. Now, it gets its name, Honeybush, from its nice, sweet-smelling flowers, although it doesn't taste like honey or look like honey or anything. And if we go back to the papers and manuscripts, we read for the first time about Honeybush in 1705, and that the locals used it as a beverage at that time. But it's also known as a medicinal plant, which were used by the Khoisan couple of years ago, and then we have now studied it, and we have discovered several health benefits from this plant. We know it is caffeine-free and it is high in antioxidants, and also we have discovered diabetic and phytoestrogen properties. Now, Honeybush has 23 species, and of which 6 are used commercially for producing the Honeybush tea. Now, as the Honeybush get more popular and more people start knowing of this plant and drinking it, there was getting more and more demand for this product. And in about 20 years ago, industry was formed, and which is managed by the South African Honeybush Tea Association, or SATA for short. And then we discovered that wild harvesting will not be sustainable for this product. So we start looking at commercial plantations. So the first plantation was in 95 planted. So it's not many years ago. But even though we today have 150 hectares of plantations, we still harvest about 80% in the wild, which is still not sustainable. So there's a huge potential to grow this industry in future.
So why was the project originally started?
This project was started to address various aspects of Honeybush and the industry. The main purpose was to grow the industry, and that is we were doing through establishing small businesses in the rural areas to produce for us seed and seedlings and plants. And secondly, we use them as vehicles to get this improved material that was bred by the ARC through their breeding program out into the industry and the farmers. And then furthermore, we need to ensure that we get a good quality product at our end users, the consumer, and that is why we all started with this project.
Explain to us what this project exactly entails.
This project is very multifaceted, and we focus on various points in the value chain. And we also address at the same time several key issues like climate change, job creation in rural areas, and the poverty alleviation. Now, different science fields are here combined, where we do research to address and answer the questions, and we are there as a team of researchers of different institutions, and we work together to make sure that we have all the expertise and skills for this market and for this project. Firstly, to address the climate change, we have Dr. Nikki Leeuw. she is establishing irrigation trials where she looks at what is the effect of drought stress on the plant, how will it affect the yield? Will we pick up the protein changes, which usually switch on when the plant is under stress? And does it have an effect on the quality of the tea at the end as well? Then we have Professor Lisette Joubert and her team. She are developing new processing protocols. That's where she is looking, for example, can we shorten the processing time of the tea? And if we can do that, then it will be becoming an energy-saving protocol, which is also important for climate change. Then, if we look at the more direct impact on the industry, and more the practical side of the project, my team and I focus on the developing of the small businesses in the communities and the rural areas, where we address the job creation and as well as the growing the industry. Now, the SMMEs have each different focuses. Two of them are producing the honeybush seed that we can sell to the nurseries. Two are producing seedlings to selling to the farmers for planting commercially. And then the one business are focusing on planting the honeybush, thus establishing our plantations. Then we have Dr. Brigitte de Preez, which is busy rolling out a quality grading system for tea and to ensure the consumers get their quality product. And then we also have Dr. Marina Joubert, who is leading the media awareness part of the project.
Now, funding is always a challenge. Where do you get funding for this?
Yeah, funding is always a challenge, as you say, but we are very fortunate that we receive very good support from the Department of Science and Innovation, and especially their Bioeconomic and Innovation Division. They are supporting us for several years, and thus we were able that our products can build on each other. So we built on the previous ones and we can therefore progress. Now, they fund the operational costs of the project, while the various institutions working on this project, like the ARC, Stellenbosch University, the South African Medical Research Council, and the Cape Peninsula University of Technology, they are contributing salaries and facilities to this project. Now, with more than 50 people, with the researchers, the students, and the beneficiaries involved in this project, it is becoming very quickly expensive. But we are fortunate that we can have received funding to go ahead with this project.
Well, that's what Honeybush is all about. Our thanks go to Dr. Cecilia Bester, but stay tuned. We'll be talking to Dr. Brigitte de Preez shortly about the grading system of Honeybush.
Die groot ding van daai tye is dat dit ons wys waarvan ons gemaak is. Of ons murg in ons pype het, of ons sterk genoeg is, of ons genoeg omgee. Daar gaan altyd daai tye wees. Maar die groot ding van daai tye is dat dit ons net taaier maak. Ons stel bekend die selfs nog taaier Hilux reeks en die splinternuwe Hilux Legend.
Goeiemôre kykers. In die eerste kommoditeitsprysmarkverslag van die jaar kyk ons oor rooi vleis karkaspryse in week 52 van verlede jaar gevaar het. BSA2 karkaspryse het 0.8% gestyg teenoor die vorige week, terwyl die C2 karkaspryse 0.2% duurder was. Lam A2 karkasse is ook 1.3% duurder gewees, terwyl die C2 karkasse se prys met 1.5% gedaal het. Varkvleispryse het ook met 0.8% gestyg. Met die speendiere aanbetref was dit die veilingspryse van 21 Desember verlede jaar tussen Kersfees en Nuwejaar was daar regtig veilingsie en die speenkalfprys het toe effens toegeneem met 1.2% terwyl die speenlamprys met 0.8% gedaal het. Geen verandering in die natuurlike veselpryse nie met veilings wat plaasvind vir hierdie jaar. Grane aanbetref het geelmielies met 0.9% duurder geword teenoor die vorige week. Koring se pryse is 0.7% af, sojabone 2.7% duurder en sonneblom 0.4% goedkoper. Die rand het die afgelope week redelik goed gevaar teenoor vernaamste wisselkoerse en 1.1% toegeneem teenoor beide die dollar en die euro.
Joining me now is Dr. Brigitte Preez, and we'll be talking about the grading system for Honeybush, and she's from the University of Stellenbosch. Brigitte, you recently developed this grading system for Honeybush. How does it work?
Yes, good afternoon. The quality grading system is a user-friendly, quick and reliable method that was developed to equip the Honeybush tea industry to ensure that the final product of good and acceptable and consistent quality is delivered to the end user. It is based on scientific data of more than 500 Honeybush samples, as well as input from industry roles. The system provides a scientific way to evaluate and describe the sensory characteristics of the different tea batches. And the system consists of two main tools. Firstly, a Honeybush aroma wheel and lexicon with universal chemical reference standards to help Honeybush processors and marketers worldwide to understand the sensory language of Honeybush tea, such as fynbos floral or taints such as medicinal and smoky. And the lexicon is a standardized descriptive vocabulary that describes the sensory characteristics of the tea, and the chemical reference standards are chemicals that are evaluated in a base tea infusion to understand a specific Honeybush aroma to train the assessors in its sensory language. And the second part, or the second tool, is a user-friendly scorecard or scoring method that entails a scorecard and a color reference card, and it helps the processor to classify its product according to high, moderate, low, and poor quality. And it's used to score the key sensory quality parameters of the tea infusion.
What are the key aspects focused on when grading Honeybush?
So the key sensory quality parameters are, firstly, it's the infusion color, its appearance, then its aroma, and then lastly, its taste and flavor profile. So high quality class represents quality of a product of premium quality. The tea has a reddish brown color and a high intensity of floral, fruity, and sweet aromas with sweetness and slight astringency on the palate. And poor quality class, for instance, represents the level at which industry should reject the batches. So it is characterized by insipid overall sensory quality or character of palate, which is high intensity of taints such as smoky, medicinal, or musty flavors.
But why is it necessary to grade Honeybush?
So just to go back to who was the driving force of the Honeybush grading system, from the beginning of her research journey of Honeybush tea in the 1990s, Professor Zetubert from the ARC in Protect in Stellenbosch, she had the vision to improve Honeybush tea quality and to help processors to ensure that a product of good quality reaches the market. And she is a pioneer in Honeybush processing research, and she had this vision to develop this quality grading system. So Honeybush tea has, after lots of past 10 years of research, it was said that Honeybush tea has a recognizable fragrant, floral, apricot, caramel, and fynbos sweet aroma and sweet taste. But until now, no standardized set of measures to evaluate the sensory aspects of Honeybush tea exist, and South African government regulations also don't have any specific sensory standards. So tea of variable quality at present is released onto the market, and that is not ideal for the Honeybush industry and its reputation. So quality grading system will help to distinguish tea products from between high and poor quality, and aid Honeybush role players throughout the value chain to ensure that a product of good quality and consistent quality reaches the market.
Tell us more about this app and the workshops that are being presented to create awareness.
So the big rollout of this research is that an electronic version of the scorecard was developed, and it's so-called e-scorecard, and it was developed by the research team of the sensory research facility at Department of Food Science and the ARC Infotech Meatpie Bay. And it is allows electronic data capturing and allows processors also to build a sensory database of their production batches over time. So, and then another important rollout of this research is also the quality grading manual that was compiled. It's titled Grading of Fermented Honeybush Tea, an Illustrated Guide, which is also a wonderful manual for the industry to use, and it contains detailed notes on how to use the scorecard, the color reference card, the aroma lexicon, and the chemical references. So role players from market, research, development, and quality control divisions, they can all use this grading manual to use the grading system. And the manual was officially launched in June of this year at one of the first of 3 industry workshops that were presented by Nina Miller and Dr. Erika Muller and myself at the Department of Food Science. Due to COVID regulations, only 8 representatives from industry could attend a workshop per workshop at a time, and it was wonderful to have experience the positive feedback from industry and to realize how important this system is to help them in their routine quality control. So the workshop each kicked off with a training session in the recognition of all the aroma attributes. Assessors were presented infusions with the different chemical reference standards, from fine-bus floral, caramel, to the taints such as musty, moldy, so that they can be trained in the different aroma attributes. And a second part of the workshop was introducing the scorecard, and also they were able to also use the e-scorecard on the computer to test different batches of different sensory quality, so that they could see how it works and how to evaluate the scorecard. And the feedback was very positive. Like I said, they said this is something that they could use in their routine quality control, and also all the paperwork is diminished with that, so that all their data can be captured electronically.
And that's more on the grading of Honeybush, and our thanks go to Dr. Brigitte de Preez.
BKB, die betroubare tuiste van landbou. BKB, the trusted home of agriculture.